start with that. Well,
Oh,
I mean, I
cool.
guess I can stop watching this TikTok.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn that off now.
You're just gonna keep going if you started it.
No,
I started
I'm
you on
not.
it. I started you. It's drugs.
I'm done.
It's drugs. Have some drugs.
Advertisements for Zelda.
Zelda?
Advertisements for Zelda.
Yeah.
You mean the Zelda game that came out like 10 years ago that they're charging $60 for?
Yeah. Oh, is it $60?
Yeah.
That seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot.
It came out when the Wii came out, but it's $60 again, so...
I thought it came out like right at the end of Wii.
I don't know. It came out at some point in the Wii's life.
It's the Sky of Sword.
Yeah, it was like the Wii to Wii U because
it's actually like a good Zelda game, but I'm not paying money for it. I'm not paying that much money for it again, so
yeah. I'm gonna see if I can remember how to spell.
Spelling is never worth it.
But hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. You spelled docket and it came in proper.
Hell yeah.
I was hoping that you'd spell it wrong.
I mean, I thought I would too, honestly.
So, yeah, why don't we... I don't know. I'm too distracted and you know, brain
I'll play
fried.
Pokemon Go.
What? Never.
No more Pokemon Go for you two.
Put the phone down.
Can't because it's an event. Anyway, drugs. Drugs.
We are professionals.
Professionals.
Yes, professional streamers.
We have an interesting docket of topics to talk about today. Why don't we just dive right into it with the back end of D&D Adventures in the Forgotten Realms?
There's a lot of them.
I still haven't bought a box.
I haven't either. I probably should.
I will probably buy a box in a couple of months.
But, so they released a second adventure, a short adventure. I'm going to link this into chat. And I thought that was, again, I thought this was something cool that they did for this entire thing here, is that they had, rather than story, like, short adventures you could play.
I could download
9th level party.
Whoa, that's pretty high.
It's a high level.
Yeah. It's apparently episode 3. So
what was the other one? The other one was like Scarlet Flame was the first one, maybe?
It might have been the first one. I don't remember.
The first one was 8th level.
I'm getting a phone call. Lovely.
Nice. Yeah, the first two are 8th level, then this one is 9th level.
I'm guessing you can do all 3 of them in a row kind of thing, though, too.
There's Strixhaven story? You can probably run all 3 of them back to back, because they look like they're part of the same, I guess, story.
Yeah. So it's Scarlet's Frames, Hidden Page, and then Verdant Tomb. Don't know.
Which, I mean, this is cool.
Yeah.
That's quite a high level.
Judging how they, like, you know, get up to this kind of level maximum normally a lot of times, yeah, I can see that being like, yeah, you know, we're throwing you in there at a higher level.
There's a violent thunderstorm outside, so I apologize if you can hear thunder.
I think she only shows up on Tuesdays. Here's my joke for the day. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm gonna walk away now. Just gonna just wander over here with that terrible joke. But anyway, yeah. The other thing that I thought was very interesting that I saw that they did was when we originally were kind of talking about the Adventures of Forgotten Realms, I was kind of like, why are these certain people like planeswalkers, or what's going on with their selection? They actually put together an explanation for all the shit they did.
Did they? That's good.
Yeah, like why the various characters that are planeswalkers are
Did they put in an explanation for why Loth is a garbage card?
No, it's just a garbage card. For reasons. I don't know why. They just made Loth.
That was a phone call organizing lunch.
Congrats on your organized lunch.
I hear thunder too now, on my end.
Oh no! You know, we had a little bit of rain here, which is good because it hasn't rained in like a month. But it wasn't a lot of rain.
So yeah, it's interesting, like, why they chose their explanations for the various characters that are planeswalkers. Like, Eliwick Tumblestrum is apparently a legendary bard that I don't know about at all.
He's from, I think, the Drizzt books or something. But
Drizzles.
I've read, like, only 3 of those books, and there's, like, I don't know, 20 of them at this point, and they're still writing them.
Yeah.
Too many books.
The thing is, they've got an entire section, like, of the characters that are companions of Eliwick, which there's 3 of them are of the legendary characters are there. They at least give information about all of them, and some of these do seem to come from book series too. Some of the characters, like I do like they're like Minsk apparently was petrified for 100 years, and then like everybody thought that he was.
Apparently, Eliwick is just from the player's handbook for 3.5.
Huh.
That's apparently where she's from.
That's weird.
I might be a little late to this, but it's Bahamut, just in a humany form?
Yeah, it's just Bahamut in a humany form.
Okay.
And he has the ability to transform into a dragon god.
Alright, sure.
No, I mean,
yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah. He's like, this is just me hanging around with you mortals. Hi there. Hi, Bahamut. How's it going? Thank you for showing up. We probably could have used a dragon god instead. No. Don't worry about it. Anyway, off to adventure.
Away.
Away. I mean, I definitely have heard about Bahamut, like, wandering the mortal realms.
I mean, that I think was one of his, I guess before the first time of Troubles, I think, in the Forgotten Realms lore. But I think after that, gods directly interfering was banned. I don't know my Forgotten Realms lore as good as I used to back when I actually like played in that setting. But yeah, that was a thing. And he was just like, I should probably stop doing this now. So I think they have like avatars now. Whoa.
Nice.
That's on my end.
What it sounds like over here right now.
Nice.
But like,
yeah, it's fine here.
Like, I'll give you like, out of all these, okay, the 2 gods, planeswalkers, Mordekainen, sure, the Archduke of Avernus, maybe.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
But then they have like, Asmodeus is just a thing. He's not like a planeswalker.
He's a god card. He's not a planeswalker.
I guess he's just like, I don't bother showing up, you know?
I exist in some capacity.
I could head over there and do stuff, but minions.
I mean, minions are good, probably. Is this? It's a creature. Okay, it's like the Prosper Tomebound. I thought it was a book like artifact thing you play, and then it's like, wait, legendary creature. All right. Art really focuses on that book.
Yeah.
I know.
And isn't Prosper under a certain group too?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
The way it's written, I would think so.
Yeah. They must show up somewhere in some lore about the Sword Coast.
Probably. I mean, like, there's a lot of it.
That's the thing, is that there's so many like random NPCs. Like, it's the unfortunate thing that yes, it's cool that they can have them, but it's also like, yeah,
like
how many are you gonna know?
Having read through some of like the adventure paths on the Swords Coast, they just throw NPCs at you.
Yeah.
It's NPC overload half the time.
It's kind of, I mean, on the topic of the Magic the Gathering stuff here, I don't hate like the references and stuff, because it's like a little nod to like, hey, these are some well-known things. Yeah. But if you're not a big fan of like Forgotten Realms or whatever, that doesn't really mean anything to you.
Yeah.
And like a lot of these are even lost on me.
Like, I recognize a few of them. Like Wolfgar.
Volo.
Yeah, Volo's here.
That's awesome.
Xanathar.
Oh, there we go. Just dragon. Here's just the dragon.
Yeah, here's just dragon.
Some of the dragons I recognize.
Yeah, I recognize.
I seen death.
I think that is the easy one.
Yeah.
But like, with the green dragon, that one, I do recognize that one.
Yeah, I think
Gnawbone?
I recognize
Gnawbone.
Gnawbone.
Yeah, Gnawbone.
That sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you what it's from.
I can
This
understand
one
that.
after it, Tiamat.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, I don't know about this one.
It just isn't.
Sounds like they have some kind of adventure path that's really disappointing.
Mm-hmm. And there's this other one, Averick the Archlich, who I think is also in an adventure path that may or may not be disappointing. I don't know. I've never played it.
I also like. I just got.
I didn't like it.
I just like that it's just like, I'm a devil god. What's up?
Yeah.
And I only cost 4 mana to summon, apparently.
No,
Six.
he's 6. If you draw a card,
okay.
exile the top card of your library face down instead.
It's not bad.
You can, for 3, you can just draw 7 cards, and then you just... I guess the idea is you... I don't know. It's... He
I
costs
hate
a
the
lot.
art underneath it.
I certainly recognize some of my Mind Flayer boys here.
Oh, they
Love these guys.
Ooh. That's,
bronze.
I've played where both of these are from.
Oh, here we go. My favorite. The big crush everything destroyer. Apparently it's a dinosaur now.
Yeah, Tarask. They just made it
I didn't.
I mean,
I didn't know it was a dinosaur.
Kinda makes sense, I guess. That it's
Well,
a dinosaur.
you kind of like Magic doesn't have so
Yeah,
many types.
Yeah, you have to like fit it in to Magic standards, and it looks like a dinosaur. So
I mean,
therefore it is.
I guess.
Although, like, I've seen like the first edition art looks more like a death buff from Fallout to me, but
I know what the second edition art looks like. I was literally just showing. All right, I'm sorry. This Xanathar, the freaking.
he looks so smug.
I know, it's amazing.
I love him. I want to build I do want to build a deck around Xanathar. And it'll give me an excuse to play blue-black again.
He is one of the more powerful things they've introduced.
Like a
this.
commander deck with Xanathar, I think that could be very fun.
Like just playing it just with that smug face.
Yeah,
It's
like,
go fuck yourself.
he really is a go fuck yourself
Fuck
card.
you
though,
in
too.
particular.
Yeah. It's like, hey, you there.
You can't
Fuck
play
you.
anything.
Fuck you. Oh, wait, you weren't going to play anything? What do you have? I guess I'll play that now.
Yeah.
Mine.
Oh yeah, that's good.
But, I mean, I like that they've kind of added this in as a thing to show off what their plan, what their thought process was a little bit. And I like that about their choices, you know? So, I think they've done a... Can I say it's a good job? They've got
It's like an okay job.
an okay job, yeah.
It's just about as good as we're gonna get from Hasbro.
Yeah.
Wizards did it.
Yeah, they made some cards that I recognize.
I think I recognize like 5. The easy ones are like the gods and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
When it starts getting into like this NPC of this place is like, I don't know. I never played the modules. I just played in the setting.
I mean, like, Minsk was recognizable. I didn't remember
Yeah,
where
that's-
I knew him from.
That's video game.
I've
That's
played
I
a
never
few
played
of
that
his
one,
adventure
so
paths.
I knew his references and stuff, but I don't remember where he was from at all.
yeah.
I do recognize Icing Death because I have read this book that they're from.
I only recognize it because the game that was just released and bigger nerds than me were like, didn't they kill that one in the book? And it's
Yes.
like,
I recognize it
that's
because I
great.
have a giant miniature of Icing Death.
Because
Wow.
I read the Icewind Dale trilogies is one that I've read.
Yeah, isn't that with
It's-
Mr. Drizzle
Drizzle and Wolfgar and Regis
and Kathy Lee?
Regis Philbin?
and some other. It's Driz and it's Driz and Super Friends.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, I was just thinking how ridiculous it'd be if you had like talk show hosts in D&D on like as an adventure.
Regis Philbin.
Barbarian!
Oh no.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I'm going to just rage over here now. This doesn't seem like the right thing to do. This is just an interesting test of metal here we're going on. Anyway. Dagrons.
Yep.
Fizban's Treasury of Dragons.
I'm disappointed that it's not Fizban's full name, Fizban the Magnificent. Or is it Fabulous or Magnificent?
Fizban the Fabulous.
Yeah, Fizban the Fabulous is dragons.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Dragonlance. I didn't know.
He is Dragonlance.
Hero of the War of the Lance. And as
Yeah.
soon as I saw that, I'm like, it's Dragonlance. They're bringing shit in from. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's maybe good. I think that's one of the other ones that's
I've read
fine.
some Dragonlance.
Dragonlance is better than generic Greyhawk, and they do have both generic Greyhawk.
Yeah, Dark
Yeah.
Sun is the one that's awful.
Well,
Opinion.
Dark Sun's awful for various things that happen in Dark Sun, not for
Yes.
necessarily the writing is kind of a mixed bag.
Well, like, I can't speak for the writing. I speak merely as a setting. If you were going to play in it, I'd be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of horrible things. There's some very comical things that happen in there, like the semi-feral halflings, and a friend of mine who was playing in it coined the halfling in a bag, where you capture one of them, shake it up,
like meme,
toss
though.
it. It is
Oh
mean.
wait.
It is mean. Yes.
Feral halfling.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that with other things. Like, I think I've heard tale of doing that with a cockatrice. You know, just getting cockatrice, shoving it in a bag, shaking it up, and tossing it at someone, rather than terribly tearing apart. It turns into stone.
We, in a game, we had captured a flame skull in a bag and we then threw it at some enemies.
Nice. Just play a ranger that collects horrible monsters.
In a bag.
He just has them in like different bags. Just like, wait, here's the one.
That'd be an interesting class feature. Is you have like a planar bag of holding, and instead of like going to the astral plane or whatever, it goes to like a plane that they can live in. It's Pokemon. Oh jeez, it's just a bag. It's a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's Pokemon.
It's D&D Pokemon.
It
Flame Skull. Use Fiery Blast.
Go Rabid Cockatrice.
Foam at the
would
mouth.
allow that. If there was, because it'd be like Ranger plus Artificer. I feel like.
Yeah.
So like as you level up, you'd be able to create more of these extra planar bags, which you can store creatures in, and there's plenty of food and oxygen and water for them. I mean, I would allow it because it'd be really ridiculous and silly, but it would be very ridiculous and silly.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Anyway, dragons.
Dragons.
Hey, Dragonborn
I mean,
won't be garbage anymore, maybe.
Theoretically.
I hope, because I'm playing one.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably playing the UA version at this point.
I am, yeah. That was allowed.
Their big selling point is gem dragons, the story of the first world and the role of Bahamut and Tiamat played in its creation destruction.
Which is cool. I mean, I like lore.
Yeah, Bahamut.
I'm not going to use any of it,
sure.
but...
Character options and unique draconic ancestries for Dragonborn, dragon-themed sunglasses for monks and rangers,
Monk!
new feat and spell options.
I thought you said sunglasses and not sunglasses.
Sunglasses
like,
for monks.
What?
Yeah.
Unique sunglasses?
Yeah.
Only for monks and rangers.
It's time to drag this story on.
Get out.
I didn't turn the camera on and put on my sunglasses without effort. I don't want to do it. I mean, like, I don't know why I would love dragons or not. It's not like it's part of my name or whatever.
No, there's absolutely no reason, right?
No, it's all floofs.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
So, dragon bestiary, new forms, related dragon creatures, aspect of dragon gods, dragon minions, and I mean, like, some DM stuff too related to dragons, but I mean, like, that's...
It comes out a couple days before my birthday. It sounds pretty cool.
Wish Wizards would stop doing it this way, though. where instead of just a dedicated bestiary, they're like, hey, here's like half a bestiary and then some other stuff for a book. I wish they would just, release a full one.
Maybe we'll get a Monster Manual V2 that is all the extra stuff in one book.
I hope.
Probably not, though. I feel like they keep doing this of like, hey, all this different stuff that you would like in separate books and combined together, we're just gonna, put them all
Tie
together,
it in with something
piecemeal
else.
together. So, like, if you want one of them, you get it. Well, if you don't want the other things, oh well, it's full price.
I mean, I understand that from a business side, but from a consumer side, that's really awful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there are not enough monsters in 5th edition.
I mean, there's enough if you're not going too crazy with it. I think when you start narrowing things down,
When you start theming, it becomes a problem.
theming.
Yeah.
If you're doing themes, it becomes a problem.
Or
Which is how I tend to do a lot of my storytelling, is with theming of monster types.
you might also have to worry about like the kind of almost like doubling up sometimes too.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, well, what's low level monster am I going to fight you against this time?
That's why Cobalt Press
Kobolds.
is great.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things that
Why
is
I
nice.
love Cobalt Press.
Yeah.
they're great.
I tend to just smash two different things together to make a new creature,
And hope it
and-
works.
and so far it's worked out pretty fine.
Yeah, I mean, there was
You haven't
Yeah.
died horribly yet.
yeah. Well, one of us has died.
Well, they died because
horribly, I might add.
yeah, they died because they did something dumb.
God. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I'm biased because this is about dragons.
like it. I mean, it's subclasses for two of my favorite classes in this series, in this game, Monk and Ranger.
Which
So
probably need the most, honestly.
yes, because I mean, Ranger has a lot of garbage subclasses, and honestly, so does Monk.
Yeah.
Monk
I
is
feel-
weird. Monk is just weird.
I feel like the monk one is still going to be bad, though, to be honest.
They're kind of always a little bit bad.
There's like two good subclasses for monk, and then there's a bunch of people saying this is how to improve the other ones.
Yeah, like I mean, I love fuck, what's it called? What was the one I was playing? Mask
Oh.
Monk Boy.
Yeah, the
I like
Path of
that.
Mercy?
Yeah, I like that. However, it has the problem that Monk already struggles with of key points become a big issue when you get your stuff.
Yeah, because they cost. I think there's a couple things in there. Is if you use Flurry of Blows, you can use X power for free as part
Yeah.
of the attack. There are things in there
Is
like that
nice.
that help.
Yeah. But Monk has always had, in 5e, Monk has always had the issue of resource management.
It's better in 5e than it was in 3rd edition,
Yep,
Yes.
it really is.
Though
which is saying a lot.
not, unfortunately, not better than Pathfinder. How
And then
big-
Ranger is just Ranger.
like,
Ranger's
I
the
don't
class
know.
they forgot about for a bit, and then we're like, oh, we need to actually make people want to play this.
Speaking of Ranger, when I was making an NPC Ranger, it's like, all right, pick 2 spells. It's like, I thought Rangers just got everything on the list.
Nope.
Turns out, no. Which is another reason why they're bad.
That's why I home rule it most
Yeah.
of the time. That you
'Cause it's
keep
like-
your spell lists, because that makes it fun.
Because they're based off of Druid and
Yeah.
Fighter, and Druid just gets all their spells. Paladins, they just get all their spells. They're like a combination of Fighter and Cleric, though they're kind of their own thing now.
I don't know if Paladins get all this stuff.
They do.
Yeah,
You have access
fuck,
to
I
every
gotta
single one.
rework a character sheet then.
I'm pretty sure you just have access to all Paladin spells. I could open the book again, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. All I have is the
I
monster
think
manual.
they
because I was reading about
do.
dragons.
I may have misread it. Like I thought they did too, but again,
Yeah, that's what
the last time I actually played a paladin was when
Fuck
5th
me,
edition
they
first
do. I have to redo an NPC character sheet now.
Ha ha! Told you so. Yeah,
Well,
I
shit.
mean that's why.
like an hour of my day gone.
I mean, thankfully they don't have a lot of spells.
Yeah.
But it's like that's kind of the weird thing with Ranger is like Ranger and Paladin are very similar, but they are not played at all the same.
Yeah, I think it would make Ranger better if they just had their goddamn spell list.
Yeah, and then when you do a subclass, it expands that spell list because it's already a pretty small spell list, and that's kind of the problem I think that Sorcerer has, is when you take a subclass, it should expand your spell list or like give you like here is an extra couple spells because of
3 sorcerers that do that.
Yeah, the Xanathar's ones give you like 1 or 2 spells.
Divine Soul just gives you a second spell list.
Oh.
You get the entire cleric spell list to pick from as well.
Yeah, that one is amazing.
And then the
you're
two Tasha's
bonus.
ones give you bonus spells.
Yeah, but I think they need bonus spells.
They do.
So you have extra options that are more fitting to your theme. Buzzing again.
Actually, we'll probably end up going through and just picking out bonus spells for each of the sorcerer subclasses in the future.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but like, I think it'll go a long way to making sorcerer a little better.
It's not too hard to theme them.
One of the things that I may eventually do for any games that I'm running in my world is just combine sorcerer and wizard.
Yeah, that would make sorcerers
lists.
a lot better as well.
Yeah, because it's like, what do wizards get that sorcerers don't get? And it's mostly ritual and utility spells. So it's not like you're giving the sorcerer more power. You're just giving them more options.
Yeah, like, because if you want a ritual cast as sorcery, you have to burn a feat.
Yeah,
you should take ritual caster.
Yeah, because you don't get ritual casting at all, and even giving sorcerers wizard spell list, wizards still can ritual cast without even being prepared.
Yeah.
Where with all other classes, it has to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're nerfing wizard too much by giving sorcerer their spell list. I don't know why they split them. It seems weird to me. It's all arcane magic.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, I feel like that's something that an argument that I have for, like, Pathfinder 2nd Edition, because it's like, rather than having, like, this spell has this spell list, it's like, here's the 4 spell lists.
Yeah,
we just
I
tell
really
you,
like that.
we just tell you the source that you have, so you have the spells of that type if you're from that source.
That's a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. That's one of the things I really like about the 2nd Edition Pathfinder is, like, what are you playing? You are using the spell list. With Sorcerer, you can technically be any of them. It's just how you got the spells dictates your spell list. Like, are you a dragon? Okay, cool. You're primal or whatever, right? I don't know if it's actually primal, but like that's a good way of doing it, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree. They certainly do a good job that way.
It's a dragon book. It's probably going to have some dragon things. It's $50.
It's $50.
So
or wait a week and 5 e-tools.
Maybe. We'll
Probably.
see.
Also, new feats, because they continue to add feats to this game while saying they're
Making them
optional.
optional instead of just built into the system, because there's so many now. What's next?
Next up is a adventure that you can play.
Adventures.
Which is something that, again, like, I feel like it's been better in a lot of, like, unusual systems. It's, you want to be teen superheroes? In a,
Sure.
maybe. 2028?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Sure, we could do that.
Team Tomorrow, group of superheroes. I think they're probably like a little like Teen Titans-y, so they're probably not as teen as they sound like, you know?
They're 19.
Does one of them say...
19.
Does one of them say fuck Batman because they want to be an edgy live-action TV show?
Sure.
Oh, no.
But they say fuck whoever there is a actual...
The equivalent of Batman.
There is an actual equivalent of Batman, but he's superpowered in the system. Because, I'm going to say, in a game that I played in Abberant, using the world, but with, like, just like kind of a little bit of alternate rules, we ended up fighting superhero Batman. And it was like, oh my god, Batman.
Man-Bat. Did you fight him?
No.
No,
We would have. But, so the entire idea is, you're kind of joining Team Tomorrow, which is, I guess, for young super people, you know.
What about Team Today?
What about Team Yesterday?
No. Never.
Oh, no.
The idea is it's like, you know, I guess it's not necessarily a franchise, but kind of is, because they do that kind of thing in a lot of the stuff. It's a adventure for 3 to 6 players. They've got pre-made characters if you need to use them, and any extra rules for those characters. So it's neat.
Weeks in the deep.
That is something else I'm going to be talking about next, because that's the crowd. They like to have multiple updates on their same things with Onyx Path. We're like, oh yeah, by the way, it is already funded, and we'll be talking about that because that's a new weird game, or interesting game. I don't know what he would say, but yeah, no. Abberant's fun. I'm glad to see that they've got, like, I guess, pre-made adventures for you to try out.
Yeah. I mean, I did want to try Abberant.
I have the books for it, like the normal books. So I don't know, maybe like testing it out some point in time.
Yeah, like it could be like a one-shot test or something, you know.
Hey, we'll just start doing it on Saturdays or something.
Mm-hmm. Superheroes. Weird superpowers.
I was delivered food. Yay.
Food.
Delicious.
But moving on to the other topic we kind of mentioned, Squeaks in the Deep. Yes, apparently. So, I've known about it, but I've not really talked about it. There was the Pugmire and Monarchies of Mao, which are the two, basically, they're furry RPGs. In Pugmire, you play a dog person in a weird, I guess, maybe post-apocalyptic, maybe alternate world. I don't know. I don't actually know.
We talked about this before.
And the Monarchies of Mao is the cat version of it, but now they're adding in that you could be rats and mice. And apparently the rats and mice are psionic. Because,
yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going for Secretive Nim vibes there.
Yeah.
You know, that they're trying for a little bit there.
What was it? Adventurers Down Under and the Adventurers something else? That was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's certainly interesting.
I'd play a mouse character in a game, sure. I've already played a space cat in a game.
Yeah. So I mean, like, again, the underneath holds treasures lost long by man. So yes, man did exist, and apparently, like, with involved intelligence, like cats and dogs. Because I guess cats and dogs reclaimed the civilizations of man, and
makes sense. If anyone's gonna do it, it's
mice
cats.
Are the underground ones.
The cats that were through mankind.
Yeah, to be honest, if anyone's gonna replace mankind, it's gonna be the cats.
Well, the dogs were there too. That's why you could be Pugmire and not just the Monarchies of Mao.
But the dogs loved the humans, where the cats were like, you've given us sentience, and we will take over the world.
Your foolish apocalypse or whatever happened that killed you all has gotten rid of you. Now we rule. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Okay, so the evil villain of the big campaign is going to be a Tabaxi, I'm sorry.
Nice.
So yeah, they've funded themselves right away.
Yeah.
I mean, these have always been like interesting adventures. The sounds of it and stuff. I just never. Maybe it's one to try out some point.
Yeah, there's a lot of these to just try.
Yeah. Honestly, it might not be bad. I don't know. But yes. Let's move on to our last topic, anime board games, because I've got two.
Love
anime.
anime.
No, here it comes.
Because
it's anime monopoly.
Japanime Games gave us two. Here they are.
Hey, I've seen this anime.
Yeah. Tokyo
And
Ghoul,
this anime.
Bloody Masquerade, and Attack on Titan: The Last Stand.
I liked the first season of Tokyo Ghoul, and I have not watched the second one.
I think I've seen clips of it, but I don't think
and
I've
it was
watched
confusing.
Apparently, it's not good.
No, because
from what I've been told.
Because I remember seeing it, and they basically are like, "Hey, yeah, you know, we kind of have this leave off. We're gonna like go off on a weird tangent storyline that we don't actually tell you how we got here, Maybe we'll talk about in an OVA or a movie or something. I don't know. Maybe they did. But yeah. But totally, like, completely different storyline kind of location. Enjoy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I don't
Yep.
know if I have anything to say about this, to be honest. I
I
haven't
mean,
seen either of them.
I
Well,
like
it's not-
Attack on Titan.
I hated it.
I thought it was like... Well, I like the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen the rest.
I think the premise of the show is interesting, but I hate how they tell the story.
It definitely also has that problem of, like... It's one of those... Hey, there's just no hope, and, like, everyone's gonna die kind of things, right? That's kind of how it's presented.
Yeah.
And I can see that being unlikable to people.
I don't like the way that they present it very well for Attack on Titan. I understand, like, there's some interesting stuff to it.
The lore is neat. And
Yeah,
the lore is cool.
The lore is neat.
Some
of the way that they do, like, some of the storylines. Because I watched through a bunch of it. I just haven't watched the back ends of it.
I've seen the first 2 seasons, which they're fine. I definitely like the idea of it, and I played also the one game that they made, the Dynasty Warriors one. That was pretty cool.
Oh, the Dynasty
Oh,
Warriors
no.
one. Yeah.
That was a good game with a UI that was impossible to read.
So, this seems... It seems interesting, but there's also, like, components to both of these that I feel like are, like, maybe a little bit of a turnoff for the game.
I'm just trying to figure out what you're actually supposed to do in the Attack on Titan one.
The Attack on Titan one is, like, play as your favorite character, or as the Titan itself, I guess. So it's like,
which favorite character? Dead character number A or dead character number B?
Uh-huh.
I don't fucking remember the names of them. The guy bit in half in the first episode. That's my character.
Guy bit in half. Hell,
yeah.
I want to play him. That guy's awesome.
My favorite character. Do you like roll? Oh, you do roll dice. Okay, so it's like a dice.
Yeah, it does seem like a dice game for, like, fighting
Okay,
things.
so, like, I guess maybe it looks like you get on the parts and you roll your dice and hurt the Titan. That seems like, eh.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a... But they're taking interesting takes for both of them, I feel like. Yeah. But I feel like the one thing that I kind of have that complaint about is both of them seem to have a little bit of the players against each other mentality.
Yeah, they're definitely more competitive games.
I don't necessarily mind competitive games, but
I have said many times in the show how I feel about those.
Yeah.
Used to like more. I mean, I still like some competitive stuff, but those are more like the lying kind of games. I like those a little more.
Oh yeah, something like Secret Hitler.
Yeah, I like those.
I like those games, deception games, where like I like those type of games. Those can be fun. I like games like Betrayal, House on the Hill, where you do not know who the enemy is going to be, and it kind of happens in the middle of it. Where rather than being playing against each other, you might have been working together, and all of a sudden, oh well, now your friend's trying to murder you.
Yep.
I like that kind of stuff. Where like this one, where they're saying like, I guess you don't need to have someone play as the Titan.
Feels like you really kind of do for it to be fun.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. And in the Tokyo Ghoul one, where they're talking about like, you could be any of the different types of roles, and that makes a difference on how you play in the game, and it's like that. I don't know. That one is sus.
I will say it is telling that Tokyo Ghoul is kind of bad, but I at least know the characters compared to Attack on Titan, where I don't fucking know anyone in that show.
It's almost like all the characters were disposable, except for like 3.
Yeah, it's almost like that. I will say, at least the Attack on Titan one is somewhat relevant still. Compared to Tokyo Ghoul, which is ended, I don't know how fucking long ago, the TV show.
A couple years now, I think. Though they might be doing something else. I don't know.
Is Funimation rebooting it, and are they going to heavily censor it again?
Who knows? Probably not. Maybe.
Tokyo
I
ended in
love
2014.
Sensory.
Well, the manga did. And so the anime ended in 2014. But then there was a sequel which ended in 2015. So it's been 5 years.
That's a long time, especially
That's
in
a
like
long
modern day
time.
society.
Yeah, I feel like this is the thing that I both like and hate about Japanime games is they do make products that are like relatively good, and I feel like their original stuff is better. The original stuff that I've played of theirs seems like, yes, maybe they just get like someone that could do, hey, here's some anime art. Neat.
Isn't it pretty universal that adaptation things, either movie or video game, tend to be a worse quality than whatever the original is?
Typically,
Not
it's not always true, but it's true enough times for me to like be iffy on unlicensed products.
Well,
and
like,
things like that.
I have to admit, like, I think I might have told this story before, but I've played a licensed product that was, in fact, really good and surprisingly good.
There's some damn good licensed products.
Yeah. Randomly, one year at Christmas, my mom got me a Lord of the Rings. I think it was actually just like a Hobbit board game. So it's based on the Hobbit movie, the
Hell
original one.
Hobbit movie.
And
gross.
I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be terrible. Me and Joe played it. I don't know if it needed like the Hobbit top, but it was actually a really fun game.
So it was like Mario 2. It was a different game. Different Mario.
Like,
Doki Doki Panic.
the game was simple enough that I have to say, maybe not like generic, but like there wasn't a lot of connection to the source material.
I think that's kind of a good way to do a board game, is like you just set it in that world.
Yeah. The thing is, like, you can do that with a lot of different board games, though. Anyway,
Yeah, like, you can't really do that with like Attack on Titan. Because there's one specific place in that world, and it sucks to be there. And Tokyo Ghoul, I don't know the lore of Tokyo Ghoul. I assume there's ghouls outside of Tokyo, maybe.
It's Tokyo. There's the
Tokyo's
ghouls.
pretty damn big.
Yeah,
So
it is pretty damn big.
you could just ignore these names.
I think it's
Play
that.
your own characters. I guess.
Yeah, I think it's just a weird like quirk of it all, like when I'm considering it, kind of thing. That you can do a licensed game well. I feel like doing the best licensed game is you could technically put a different code on top of it, but it probably has just enough of the licensed material to make it feel like you're doing something, like
I mean, it's like writing a good character. You don't have to make that character like, She-Ra, right? It's like, that's a really good character. But if you write the character good enough, their like name and identity or whatever doesn't matter. It's the same with the board game.
Yeah.
Is my mic's still fuzzy, by the way?
It is. I don't know why. Maybe the storm.
Maybe my internet is just being dumb. Let me try rejoining the call.
Yeah, we can try that.
Hello.
Well, we'll see how long that lasts.
Okay.
It does sound clear.
That might have just been Discord, because I just having internet issues with the storm.
Yeah.
Yay, storms.
The storm seems to have passed now, though.
That's good. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my general opinion on like licensed products. Is if you are, I guess there's two ways of looking at it. There's the convert like something that already exists into that thing to the point where why did you even bother to convert it? Because like, for example, it's still just Monopoly.
Yeah.
It's still just Clue.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's like, if you take something that is a very general idea and then you inject enough of the source material into it to change it to be something else without destroying the original source material, then it's probably better in that regard.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of games that you just can't change the rules. Like Risk, I think, is another one.
Yeah.
Or Stratego, right? It'd always be, this is the map, these are the units.
Mhm.
You could change them, like, this isn't a scout, it's animate protagonist A.
Yeah.
Hey, you could do that. It's still just Stratego.
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, at least these games are trying, and I feel like that's why they're better than Monopoly of something, or Clue
I mean,
of
Monopoly is like, you're not trying at all. You
No.
don't have to do much to make a Monopoly board,
something. Nope.
as
It's...
we've seen.
Yeah. Here's some Monopoly. Enjoy.
I think I would like, because Tokyo Ghoul's about, like, you know, ghouls eating people and stuff. Like, what if you just did like a mystery game where you gotta find the ghoul?
Yeah.
What person ate this person? You know,
I feel like
that could be neat.
I feel like the Tokyo Ghoul one, they don't have enough information in that.
Yeah, that's not really. I don't know what you're supposed to do in this.
Yeah, like, at least, like, when looking at it, it doesn't really scream a lot of information. Like, the Attack on Titan one, there's a big Titan figure you're making.
It apparently is a deduction game, but I don't know what you're deducting.
I'm trying to figure out, like, the kind of other team to know which one you're trying to, like, kill off.
Maybe?
Or fight.
Bluff
there's
and
like a-
deduction board game.
Because there's like a card game. I forget what it's called, but there's like 3 teams. There's like the hunting team, and then there's like a monster team, and there's a neutral team. And then you're like trying to figure out who is on what team so you can kill them so your team's left.
That sounds like what the Tokyo Ghoul one is.
I forget what that card game is called. 'Cause I
'Cause
actually
it talks
really like
about-
it.
It talks about if you're a mere human, a ghoul, or an investigator. Roam the streets of Tokyo, keep your identity secret, investigate, cover your tracks. It's up to you to uncover the player's real natures and come out on top. It sounds like it's that, the way you described that, and then this little blurb here.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what that actual game is called, because that's like a really good game.
Ah, Buzzy. So
Buzzy
Buzzy.
again?
Yes, it hates you.
Damn it.
It'll be fine. It's only
Probably.
mildly hating us.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about board games.
If I find the name of the game, I will post it in chat.
Okay. Let's move on from this to
More dockets.
our docket topics, and let's go on to our deeper discussion, because this is one that, like, I think actually we can kind of hit on, because I chose this kind of more randomly for my list, but actually pertains to what we were talking about with the Dragons and Monster manuals. Monsters and enemies. in your board
Monsters.
game. Yeah.
That's very system dependent. If we're talking about D&D, make your own stuff. Like that. I mean, I am not super amazing, but 5e specifically, there's not a whole lot to things.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
So if you just take something and give a different paint and coat on it, or change the weapons it uses, or take one ability away and give it an ability of something else that's a relative similar CR, you've made a new creature with very little effort.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's one thing. As far as like having more material to work with, that helps, especially if you are new to like running or creation stuff. Now, if you're talking about like Pathfinder, Pathfinder has rules to create things, but because Pathfinder is a much more mechanic-heavy game, buzz. I think it's easier to have something go wrong in that if you're trying to create something like off the cuff.
Yeah. I think the thing is, like, monsters are usually like, you're creating it as to it is going to be an opponent. It's going to be an obstacle. It is going to be something your players will fight against or deal with in some way. You know, that's kind of the idea of the design of them. And that can come in a lot of different flavors, I guess, is the way to say it.
I am of the opinion that a monster should both be fun for a player to fight and fun for a DM to use.
Yeah.
There is a balance there that is oftentimes can be missed, as we have seen with Pathfinder, with stuff like instant death effects or just having kind of bullshit spells. And I think 5e kind of hits that balance of fun for both with most of its monsters. And also, if you're making a tabletop system, put templates in your system so people have an easier time making monsters. Because templates are good, and 5e doesn't really have them.
They kind of have it for Dragon, but I don't know if they have anything else.
Yep, they have a half dragon template, and I think that's kind of it.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's the one thing that I think, like, first edition Pathfinder was the last system that I've seen that did it well. They had really intense rules for designing both NPCs and monsters that you could use very well. Like, it's the unfortunate thing that, like, second edition Pathfinder, from what I've seen, it's there, but it doesn't feel as well made when it comes to, like, the enemies you might be facing.
It's also a pretty big divergence between first and second edition Pathfinder. There's
is.
not... You can't really compare it as much, other than, like, a paladin will still feel like a paladin,
Yeah.
but, like, the way you use your abilities and how you get them is vastly different.
Yeah. I'll agree on that one. It's just... They changed things so much. And then 5th edition, it's the unfortunate thing that, like... I feel like 5th edition, just because they have a lack of options, and they set it up in such a way that, like... most of the time when I'm like, I need an NPC, Google the NPC list. Like, that's another thing is, like, enemy NPCs...
Oh, they're really lacking.
They are so bad on those. That is the worst thing. Like, as much as I complain about their monster manual for it, the enemy NPCs are just so much worse.
I agree with you on that, and I like disagree with you on the creature thing, because like I can just look up other stuff or like make my own thing or combine things, right? But as far as like NPCs goes, there's not enough to work with, you know?
No, there really isn't, and I think it's kind of like the idea that 5e has of everything as a monster. So
Yeah.
you can just use a monster as an NPC.
Yeah. There was one thing that I discovered when I was doing searching and stuff, is that this was like, I think it was a Reddit post, and they were discussing how CR works and how building creatures, or roughly, like I don't remember really what it was, and it was something that they were kind of calculating, is based off the caster level, not the caster level, the level of the caster. So, because caster level is different than level.
Yeah.
But like, let's say it's a level 10 wizard, right? You can just make a level 10 wizard as far as like what spells they have, how many spells they would have, and that would roughly be a CR10 creature.
Yep.
Because of how the mechanics of that spell work. Now there was also some little like plus and minus like 2 CR or something, so it could actually be a CR8, and that could come down to how much armor class it has, how much hit points it has.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a really good way of being like, well, what if I just want a caster to be against them? Well, that's a really good rough estimate of how dangerous this creature is based off the amount of spells it has or the level of spells in this region.
Yeah.
That's about what I did for the caster. So I was like, all right, I need CR whatever. I'll look up caster CR level, and I just pulled their what spells they get, just threw my own spells on there.
Yeah, that's another thing that this is actually in the monster manual. Is when specifically talking about spellcasters, it says if you want them to have different spells, just give them different spells.
Yeah.
These are just suggestions. But there's so little in, just specifically talking about 5e, there's so little in there that gives you like suggests anything like freedom. It's like, here's a book, use these things in the book, but if you want to have the spellcaster know different spells, that's fine. It doesn't really give you any either motivation or tools or suggestions to try and do your own thing or modify stuff. You kind of have to learn that from the internet.
It's this unfortunate thing, too, that I've seen already in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. They do the same thing to a degree, but at least one of the things they do is they say most NPCs are going to basically be the monster stats. But if you want to build like a villain or a very specific NPC that's going to have a lot of interaction with players, build it as a player character.
Yeah.
They say that.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that is nice to say. You know, it's like, well, you know, if you're just going to, like, you know, mook fighters, you don't have to worry about them. You know, like something like that. But, like, the villain might be built like a player character. But you're like, you know, your generic bandits are probably just going to be basically monsters.
Yeah, generic bandit boy.
Yeah.
And
That's how I make stronger NPCs.
Yep.
Is give them. So there's a argument to be made here, which is just giving a NPC or creature levels of a class, or giving them abilities that are similar to class-like abilities. Which, if you look at, I mean, I'm going to reference 5e because this is the really bad one for this, right?
Mm.
There is like Scout or Spy or something, and they have an ability that is similar to a rogue, but they do not have all the rogue's abilities. They just have like sneak attacks, or like goblins or something. They have like the cunning action of running away or disengaging or something. If you take apart certain parts of that class, or add in certain things from that class, you can kind of build up, like, you take generic fighter, he's a CR5, it's like, well, cool, well, I want him to be more than a CR5, and I want him to have, like, these kind of class features of this class. Take one or two of them to add on to that, and then, like, maybe bump its AC by 1 or 2, and then add some more hit points. Boom, you now have, like, a CR6 or, you know, CR7 creature. The little things like that, I think, is easy to do. But, like, starting from 0, I don't know of how I could help anybody with that in regards to 5e, because it doesn't really have rules for that.
Yeah, starting from nothing and just making a creature is not easy.
No.
Yeah, it's why I steal things.
It's why the way I usually do it is, like, because for a game I am prepping, I needed some, like, monk enemies, and I was just like, alright, there's some martial arts-ish creatures in one of the adventure paths, so I took them and just, like, you know, messed around with them, added some things to them, took some things away. And that's how I build monsters in 5e, because it's kind of the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, it's not too hard to make your own things. Once you kind of, especially if you're doing a lot of GMing, right?
Yeah.
When you start using those custom things, you'll realize, okay, well, how did that go with my party? What was easy for them, what was hard for them, and how did the creature perform? Another thing is, if you have a lot of players and they're only fighting one creature, they're going to destroy it regardless of how tough you make it, unless you make it stupidly.
And somebody else give it legendary actions and stuff.
It was like the issue I had in Madness and Land, because I built basically a bunch of custom monsters for Madness. They were pretty easy to build because they were basically like, oh, here's some base statistics, here's some class levels, here's what CR they should be. Granted, it's not perfect. You know, sometimes messing around with stats here and there can have unknown effects, you know, up and down, you know, that...
Worse for Pathfinder.
Yeah. But for Pathfinder, those little, like, tweaks there, they aren't... You're not going to have as much issues with those little tweaks, is what I'm kind of saying. Yeah. While when I went into 5th edition and I did something comparable, it ended up being a lot more deadly.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work the same. 5th edition, just unfortunately, it's very hard to judge that kind of thing. You know, it's like... I had to, like, look at 5th edition, be like, okay, here's all the different creatures. What is the kind of span of what those creatures are? And analyze them and kind of figure out stuff. While I didn't have to do that in Pathfinder as much. I didn't have to break down the span of, like, what kind of ACs are appropriate, what kind of this is appropriate, you know?
Yeah.
If you really start digging into 5e, you will start to see patterns of how much this attack bonus is, like the to hit, modifier, and how much armor class, and how much hit points do they have, and they kind of vary around CR. So like,
Yeah.
for example, you're probably not going to see something with more than 100 hit points at CR5. It's just probably not going to happen.
No.
So that's one of the things I've noticed, because I tend to just look at the monster manual a lot because I use it for like ideas, or when I'm trying to design creatures, I'll look at like a bunch of different creatures that are like, I want a CR5. I keep referencing CR5 because that's kind of where you guys are in my game, is you're kind of in that CR5 category.
Yeah.
So I look at things that are in the CR5 category and I go, oh, well, this one has less armor class, but I see, it has more hit points and it has resistance, as opposed to this thing, which has got less hit points but a lot more armor class, but no resistances. And you kind of will notice that if you are looking through like a very narrow selection. Obviously, when you start broadening it, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking at like a CR4 and a CR5, or a CR5 and a CR6, you should start to notice a little bit of the idea behind it. But the one thing that CR doesn't do, and I think a lot of people will argue this, is the CR is a guess of how difficult it is.
Yeah.
There are things that you will do as a DM, or there's things that the players will do as players that will make the encounter either harder or easier, and it goes in both ways. And one of the things that the DM has that the players do not have is the DM basically has unlimited resources. If there's a fight that's going really bad, the DM can think of a way to make it less bad. Perhaps they don't strike to kill because they're like, oh, we got this in the bag. Or maybe someone leaves to be like, we got this, we don't have to do anything. And the party can kind of adjust. Where if the party ends up doing something, that's kind of it. The party has to not like talk down to people, but the party has to be better. They need to like use as much of their resources as possible, because theirs is limited. It is limited by their character sheets, their classes, the environment the DM has put them in, the creatures that the DM has faced them against. Everything is kind of against the player, so it's more on the DM to try and not screw you guys over by using things that are too hard.
And it's not always easy to, because
No.
like you're building the encounter for like all the different steps, and you might not judge that like, oh, this thing is going to be exactly deadly. You thought it would be neat, but for whatever reason, you don't judge that, oh, hey, this is bad. Maybe not for all PCs, but specifically my group of PCs. You know?
Oh, it's raining. Well, what would rain do? Oh, well, rain would do these things. And then you turn out, oh, that's really bad for this encounter. I didn't think about that. I was just thinking of a narrative setting to put the people in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think
environmental stuff should never ever be discounted.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate thing that there's a lot of bits and baubles in the situation of the game that can be very difficult to put together, and for any kind of just encounter in general, and like especially when you're just trying to put together monsters and players and stuff like that and build something that's fun, it can just have issues.
I will say, if you are finding like your big boss monsters are like getting absolutely trashed by players, and they're not performing as well as you want, slap some legendary actions on them.
Yes, that happened in your game.
Yes,
And that was my recommendation.
Granted, the one already had legendary actions. Unfortunately, a boss monster got absolutely deleted. Hilariously, after I killed a player.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel that bad about it.
Another thing, not trying to interrupt or anything, is I feel like there's a lot of times it's like player versus DM mentality, and if your creatures are dying a lot, don't think of it as, oh, this isn't fun for me. think of it as like, oh, I need to try something different to make the encounters like more interesting or more dangerous. But at the end of the day, it's like you're trying to play with people.
Yeah,
and,
now you're trying to tell a shared story.
yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, I could have given you guys nothing and been like, here's some ghosts, go fight them, but no, I've been slowly building you up to having things to fight ghosts. Now you're fighting ghosts.
Ghosts suck.
They do suck. Especially when someone shoots some magic at a wraith and then pisses it off and he goes gets his other wraith friend and they slap him in a small hallway and leave.
Yeah. That's another thing about like encounters. I don't know if I've talked about this on the show, but a while back when I first started running in my world, it was a second game with two of my friends, and they wake up in a dungeon in a jail cell with amnesia. I know, I did the trope.
He
but
did the Oblivion.
They didn't give me any backstory to work with, so I had to do it. And they were like, yeah, whatever, it's fine if you want to just like take a narrative or whatever. It's just like, I did. And one of the things is the lower levels of this dungeon are filled with undead.
Ooh.
The players didn't have to do anything about it. Basically, they're like, well, we have to deal with these undead. You were like on the ship with us. I guess if you want to leave, you can. And then I made it so when they went outside to look, it's like, oh, it's really bright outside. The sun kind of hurts. And they're like, don't like that. And then they just help fight the undead, which is fine. It's kind of what I expected. It's what I built and planned for. But I had an encounter with, it was like 2 zombies and like 2 orcs. The orcs were technically undead, but it didn't really matter too much for like the difficulty. And it kind of went weird because they were like doing okay. So I was like, well, the orcs are intelligent, so the orc is gonna go and like get some friends because they're just right around the corner. And then so when I moved the orc over there, I was like, the orc can see 2 different groups of enemies because that's kind of how I planned it. So this one encounter turned into like a 2.5 encounter, and one of the players went down, which was pretty bad because they were kind of the healer. They were a bard, so they had heal spells. But like, I was like, I don't like this. They might have been level 2 at the time. I think they might have leveled up because level 1 is pretty rough. But I kind of hinted that you guys are at a door with magical locks, and so they like rushed over to like close the door, and they sealed off like I think it was just 2 zombies that had crossed the door, because like there was like 2 other orcs and they had javelins or whatever they were throwing them. But there were some of them that like couldn't get through the doorway because of how they fought, and so that is kind of an encounter gone wrong, and a lot of that's purely on me because I made it allowed to pull the other group because I felt like it was fine for like the combat. It turned out it wasn't fine for the combat.
Yeah, that also is what happened to me, and then I extended an offer to Chris to be like, your characters can just not die, but you gotta take this. And then that was agreed upon.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Sometimes you can overestimate what your players can do.
That's a definite. You don't.
I think having options to, be they meta or non-meta, have players return as the character they were playing as character death is also probably a good idea. I mean, if you're playing in a world in an area that's just not possible, you need to tell like the players, like, all right, you guys go here. You know that you're not getting any support or help. Like what you have is what you have, and then that's kind of the agreement. Is like, oh well, we know. So, I think it's best to just be open with your players about things.
And the nice thing is to the like circumventing death. They've kind of been adding stuff to do that. Like in Ravensloft, you have the dark gifts. You can just give one of those to the player to circumvent death for a bit. Or
Yeah.
you have
For a
the
bit.
stuff I use, the Grim Hollow stuff.
There's also the Revenant rules.
Yeah, there's the
too.
Revenant rules. You can also have a character come back as a reborn now.
Yeah. Yeah,
There are
there's
many things
ways.
you can do.
There's
You just have to
definitely
be
ways.
creative.
Yeah.
But why don't we get into our week zizzes in tabletop?
Here, our 2 weeks in tabletop.
There
Oh
wasn't
no, was it
sup-
really?
There was surprisingly not as much as you would think, though, over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Technically. What was there? We had on Saturday evening game twice, didn't we?
You had that?
Did we have it
We had,
twice?
we had it once because we're playing it tonight.
But we would have had it after the last show, didn't we?
When did your computer blow up?
That was last week. But I was able to play on the laptop.
So we played.
I don't remember what happened the week before.
I remember what happened last week.
I remember what happened last week. Oh, I thought we talked about the week before.
Oh, did we? I don't remember. I'm
Because the
dumb.
week before that was when you... maybe we didn't. Anyway, so I'll describe it. You guys are going to this crystal cave place because it's like, we have to learn more about these weird crystal things.
Oh yeah.
They're obviously connected in some way.
Maybe.
So you went there. There was another character introduced, which we tried to speed it along a little bit, not spend 2 hours
It was
introducing the
a
character.
little. The odd part of a player was a little.
Yeah.
I will tell
It was
you.
a little confusing.
It was very confusing, and I think the speeding along did not help in that shit.
I think
No.
that character should have been introduced in a downtime, like you're supposed to with new characters.
I think that not last week, not the week before that, but the week before that, we should have had both characters introduced.
Yes.
I agree.
But
I
there
think
was
the player didn't want to do it.
yeah, player didn't want to do it, so it's like I guess we can wait. I think they wanted to have because it was Joe who was coming back.
Yeah.
Because Kelmer had died,
Unfortunately.
and I think they wanted to have the what is it, Williger? Is their last name?
Williger.
I think they wanted Williger to have a little bit more of like, this is me, and this is my time to introduce my character. The problem is that went on for a bit too long.
Yeah.
And part of it's on me, you know.
It happens.
But,
you
know.
you basically stumbled onto the hey, the PCs see something shiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see players are like cats. They'll look at something
Yeah.
shiny and they'll focus on that, or they'll find like a box, and then they're gonna focus on that box for like 4 hours, and then nothing's gonna get done.
Because the thing in my mind, for pulling back the curtain here, is a lot of players were just kind of like, I'm just doing whatever, you know? So when I would like throw out the line and be like, hey, does, you know, someone want to say something like what they're doing or whatever, no one would bite. So I was just like, well, I guess because I have at least 2.5 people here, I'll throw out this little thing and maybe that'll get the other people interested. It didn't. It just had the 2.5 people for
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, it was weird, but we had a character introduced, and I think the character's fine mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the biggest thing was when I mentioned that I'm gonna roll for weather effects. Oh, nat 20. It's a storm. You guys, Proval, your druid. This
Our
is
good
last
boy,
week.
our adopted
Yeah.
son.
They cast the. Oh, it's not
Pass
pass without
without
trace.
trace.
It is
is it-
fast
okay,
stuff race.
Yeah, and then everyone rolled like a nat 20 on their
Yeah.
stealth check, so you guys are just invisible.
Mega stealth.
One of the things that the evil people inside the Cave of Wonders could do, they couldn't do, because the thing that they would be detecting is on a different plane of existence because it's in a bag of holding. So they weren't going to be like, I sensed the object from this area, because it wasn't there. It's in the ethereal plane, so it's not there. So then it's like, all right, well, they're just standing guard, and so you decided to murder them. When they didn't want to murder you.
Yeah, 2 people died, but I feel like the cult leader just didn't give a shit that 2 people died, which is
I mean, they're
fair.
mooks.
Yeah.
You know,
They're replaceable.
Yeah, they're minions.
And again, like, it wasn't until last week that we learned that, oh, hey, yeah, you know, the cult isn't one group that's doing evil culty stuff. There is
Yeah.
technically some other
There's
stuff
a
going.
schism in the cult.
Yeah.
So after you guys murdered 2 random cult members, there was a wizard guy who was guarding, and he's like, "We're under attack. I'm gonna hide and run away."
I'm out.
And then so Artificer Zoom was like, "I cast the invisibility." I'm like, "All right, you don't see him." It's like, "What? Why not?" Because it's a cave, and he's not in line of sight anymore.
Yeah. You didn't cast see through walls.
Yeah, you didn't
The
cast see through walls.
fatal mistake.
Yeah. And then so the big evil monstrosity man, who's now got a big claw arm and bone armor, when he finally got his turn, because I rolled like a 2 for his initiative, so everyone got to go, well, he got hit by a very familiar, radiant damage thing. So he only really knows one word, so he just shouts stars at you guys. Because it's a circle of druid stars. Yeah. And then he ran away, because he may not be intelligent, but he does have some kind of mind, and it's like, you're not supposed to fight these guys anymore. So he ran into the cave. Invisible Man heard him shouting the stars and was like, hang on, would that be those weird people? So Wizard Man told the cult leader that was at this cave, like, we're under attack, but I think it's those weird adventure people who have, like, been messing with our plans. And then so you guys were, like, sneaking around while all this conversation stuff was going on, which gave me more time to, like, have that happen. And so they're just like, well, I guess we'll just go into defensive mode or something, and then, like, if you see him again, maybe we'll parlay or something. And then so you guys were like, well, we still have pass without trace up, so I'm like, cool, well, they have no perception, they can't see you guys. And you snuck into the cave, and you started attacking them again, because they're evil cult people. And then when the cult people had a turn, they're like, hey, wait, we don't want to fight you guys. And that's where it ended.
We were like,
for the week before.
What?
Yeah.
So I think
fight
people were kind of confused at the end of that game, and I felt really bad because I felt like I had to kind of force that to happen, even though it felt like it should have happened in that way based off of what the cult people were doing.
In a role I am specifically asked to make.
Yeah, the insight check. That because like they don't look like they want to fight you guys. And you're like, wait a minute. So yeah, that was the week before. Last week, you guys basically talked with the cult leader lady, who basically threatened to murder all of you. By the way, that was what happened the last one. She's like, you guys want to keep fighting? That's fine. I'll just kill all of you. Whatever. I don't care. Because it means nothing to her. And so you talk to them, and they're like, yeah, we don't really care about this other dude anymore. He's like kind of insane, and I don't want to help him anymore. And then you went and looked at the crystal thing that Ro was there for, which was basically destroyed. And it had weird star formations. And I feel like if I start talking, I'll explain the entire plot, so please take over.
Basically, we learned a few things that these star charts tell stuff. They're like star charts from different time periods and things like that. And we've kind of gotten to a situation where, like, the evil person who's trying to resurrect a dead dragon or something might revolve around this or something or other, We got hints of the overall plot, effectively.
Yeah. And then we went to Spooky Forest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there were ghost foxes.
Yeah, we fought a ghost fox that got blasted and then smartly ran away.
Yeah, because it got really messed up.
It ran away before I could get close enough to figure out what it was.
Yeah, well, I read something about specifically these ghosty foxes that I forgot that it had abilities. So, more fun for today.
We'll find out more.
Time for us all to die.
There might be like 10,000 of them that you can't attack because they're ghosts.
Yeah.
I forgot how horrible ghosts are.
Do
Yeah.
I have anything on Sundays then? I don't know if I did or not.
Did you not?
I had a Sunday thing, I know that much.
To kill?
I'm trying to think, as I might have missed 2 weeks because we had a week off, or did we? It's hard to remember because it's been 2 weeks. Like, I can remember part of it because, like, honestly, I didn't have anything last week. You know, that entire week was just gone.
Yep.
I don't even think I had Star Trek that week too. We had
No, you didn't.
We had a week
Had
off.
some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I had we didn't have Legacies either week. Records is done. Didn't have stuff on Wednesdays because that's kind of like it's kind of switching
Void.
phase. Yeah.
A nebulous void.
Yeah.
So what did Momo do? What day
I
was it?
had a Sunday game. A very early morning Sunday game.
That sounds way too
8
early.
in the morning.
That's like 5 o'clock in the morning for me.
I mean, it's fine for me because I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, so whatever. So we had our first session of that game. It was a brand new DM, whose first time ever DM, did a pretty good job. We fought some clockwork robots, killed them, and then we went into a forest and saved a child. We fought an on-cake and killed the shit out of that because it's an on-cake. It's like, I mean, it's a CR2, but they're not like the strongest things. And also we pulled crab battle and rolled our initiative all before it.
Crab battle.
Yeah, so we
Poor
defeated
crab.
that pretty handedly. And we saved the child. And then I jokingly was like, when we were trying to figure out what, because we got a clue from the child that, oh, there's a monster here making like earthquakes. And I was like, all right, I maybe know things about nature. DM, can I roll to figure it out? And I rolled a natural 20 on the question, I don't know, is it a giant mole? And apparently, my character knows a lot about moles. So I gave the party a biology lesson on moles and dire moles.
But were they dire badgers?
No, they weren't dire
With mole
badgers.
powers.
Unfortunately not.
Alright,
I
time to make a
may have-
badger with mole powers.
May have also established that Lindsay's character, who my character travels with, may have been at one point attacked by a feral gnome. Which is why maybe Lynn's character has a fear of gnomes.
Well, I
Feral
mean-
gnome.
Those damn feral gnomes.
Yeah, no, gnomes are pretty scary. Have you seen those hats?
Like I'm thinking like I may have had a game on Sunday. I fought like a undead phase spider. I talked about that, but I don't know if I talked about that here on the show.
think
That
you-
I feel
did?
like
Was
maybe
it like?
you did, unless it was in our game.
I think you talked about it on the show, but I don't know because time is meaningless.
yeah.
Yes, time is awful.
And then
I hate you.
I did have this last Thursday. I did have a session of Children of Wrath, which we had a season finale.
That was
Okay,
weird, because like
very
you're totally
strange.
fine for
Yeah.
Discord.
Something happened with OBS there. That was weird.
Well, we're back. It looks like maybe I got an ad.
I have
Yeah.
an ad too.
Yeah, it says it's back online. It still says it's the same amount of live, which is weird, and the drop frames
Oh.
disappeared.
My counter is reset. It's 17 seconds now.
Yeah. Well, this will be fun to paste together.
OBS, whatever, OBS, you're
Well,
weird.
that'll be fun to paste together.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We're back though. Hi, chat. Hi,
Yeah,
Lee.
that was a weird little dip. I was
Yeah.
saying, like, I had a season finale of Children of Wrath because Lee has to take a step back because of personal things Lindsay already did because some things happened. And then, like, it's been long enough that, I talked to her about it, and she's like, she just doesn't know where to come in. And the fact is, I did sort of leave her character there with the hopes that she would have come back, which is really probably the worst idea, because then when her character comes back, she should have expected to know stuff, which is too much, because normally you want to kick the character, kind of take a step back anyway, because then when they come back, they don't need to expect that kind of thing.
Yeah, like what happened with Dranthair.
Yeah.
Not Dranithair, Dranthair.
We're never gonna
Like
say the name
Pokemon.
right.
Yeah. Dranthair.
Yeah. God damn it.
Like, if the character would want to come back, he would be able to ask questions appropriate to the character then, kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know?
As opposed to, I was with you the whole time. Wait, I actually missed like 16 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's...
That's why I kind of kicked Jess's character out of the party
It makes
for my
sense,
game.
though. Yeah. I didn't think about it because I was playing a barbarian that smashes things, and that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
But that was actually a character, and not just
Yeah.
an NPC that I got to
So
play in combat.
I decided to kick him out of the party in case Jess comes back, which I've left my invitation to Jess to come back, though I don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. But so it was good. It was just basically like a very it was the end of the season. It was like, hey, we found some information out. You know, some people are parting ways. We're going on different adventures. You know, there can be kind of like a time skip, and then we'll see what kind of comes back and what form it
Just
does.
come back as a dragon.
Yeah.
Because I made stats for playable dragon race yesterday and today,
Ooh.
which has nothing to do with anything. I'm
No.
just talking about my game world.
Yeah.
I don't think I had any other game. I Star Trek this week, where we.
Yeah, you did. Stuff happened. Oh, you met the asshole wormhole aliens.
We met the
They're
asshole
dicks.
wormhole aliens. They're really terrible.
They are.
Unfortunate.
They have they don't know anything about boundaries, and they're just like, oh, we didn't want you talking to anybody else. We just teleported all your communication devices. Oh, they were inside people's brains? Oh,
Ooh.
well.
We'll just put it back. Don't worry about it. Oh,
Oh, they're already expired? Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Did that kill them horribly by putting that back into their brain?
Also, I love that they have this really super crazy detailed scan thing where your guys are like, what's going on? I think they're scanning us, and then their team scans them back, rolls really high because, I mean, this personal thing, a lot of the difficulty checks you guys were given seemed ridiculously too high, but you somehow managed to get most of them anyway, it was weird. I'm just pessimistic. Anyway, you scanned them back, and they tried to murder you guys because they thought it was a beam weapon or some kind. So it's like, it's okay for us to scan you, but when you scan us, die.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Totally.
They're kind of terrible, and now they've kidnapped us to their galaxy.
Which was probably the entire plan of the show, but from the player's perspective, this is not good.
Yeah, and there's been discussion on I don't know what we're gonna do because it's we can either go longer term or I think the way that Josh talked about it, a funny one, he said you can either go movie or series. It'll be up to you. If we do a movie, we're pretty much resolved heading back, before the end of the season, if we feel like that. Or if we want to keep going for very long term, it would become our Voyager kind of thing. I'm
Which I think
whatever,
is-
Yeah. But
This is slightly off topic of discussing tabletop games, but still slightly on topic for discussing tabletop games. I'm kind of burned out on really, really, really long games.
me too.
I mean, for example, Momo's game, right?
Hi,
It's
how are
Friday. I really like that character, and I want to see them develop and see where they go. But there's other games that are hey, I want to run blah 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 game. And I'm that'd be cool. I would love to play in that. I do not want a year-long adventure.
That's honestly fair.
I think 6 months is probably enough time, especially if your players don't do a lot of side quest kind of things.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good
It's about
time
where I'm
frame.
aiming for mine. It's about 6 months.
Honestly, I'm kind of becoming of the same mindset right now. I've liked long campaigns, but it's just been there's just been such issues to the last bunch of them. I'm I want to do something a little smaller.
As someone who has been in a 2-year-long Shadowrun game, I don't want to be in a 2-year-long game anymore, ever again.
Yeah. Well, but because I guess I can announce it to you guys. I'm kind of thinking about stopping my game, but I have some set goals that I want you guys to achieve before I would consider stopping. But I'm also kind of the opinion that maybe not a hard stop, being hey, let's take a little break, and then if anybody wants to shuffle their characters around and or start a new group or something, because a semi-fresh start might help a little bit. I still have things I want to do in that world, and I really like the group that we're in. But like, coming at it from like the DM side is, for me, this is 100% not the case for everybody. It can be kind of stressful to like have all the like thinking of all the stuff you want to do, getting the players together, you know, running the game, and probably can't do more than one full sandbox, full homebrew game.
Yeah.
Like I have a game I've been kind of running that's a module, and everything is already there. I don't have to do anything except for like, this happens, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I want to do more, but I also would be fine with taking a short break. So having a game where you're like, we're gonna plan for like 3 months or 6 months of game time, and then how people are feeling after that, then moving forward after that, I think is actually probably a pretty good way of doing things.
I think that's one of the reasons why, like, another thing that, like, I was like, you know what? Season finale for Children of Wrath. We've gone for a year and a half now, and, you know, it's been good. But again, like, I think a lot of that early on and into now feels like it's been tough, too, in a way, because it's established, like, the characters, the storylines, and a lot of stuff, but the unfortunate thing I have to kind of say about it is that they've way side-quested so much more than, like...
That's from what I heard, yeah, they did.
They were the masters of the side quest. Like, granted, I did set them up in a situation where it was possible to, but it's like wherever they went, they got into shenanigans. Like, we could have sped up a lot of what they did a lot quicker, but shenanigans.
Yeah,
And
that can happen sometimes.
I feel like that's why, like, maybe Season 2 will be more targeted at that point in time. I don't know. I think it's good for a little bit of a refresh anyway at that kind of point in time. And I know, like, you know, Legacy is going to end, and the way I'm planning it, like, you know, when I do Skulls and Shackles, I'm going to do it season-based, you know, and we'll kind of see how it goes. It would, like, you know, I will definitely have breaks in between. I don't know if I'm going to switch shows, you know, but I at least will take, like, 2 weeks vacation in between each season and figure out, you know, if people want to change stuff, character things, you know, commitments, stuff like that. And then we can figure out, like, you know, I haven't decided, you know, do I want to do, like, a season of something, and switch between them, you know, to give a little bit more of a refresher? I might do that.
I guess it would kind of depend.
Yeah.
That's a little side tangent that I've been thinking about for the last week.
No, I'm actually fine with that. If like, I feel like there is, like, a big storyline, but we do not need to resolve the entire big storyline, you know?
And it could be one of the things that, like, before we, I guess, finish up with Momo's recap game, I don't mean to hog Tantus' show to talk about my offline game, but like, because you can use it for anything, right? If you were running a game, you could take these ideas, but you can have a time skip, you know. And like, because Marty, which is Tantus' character, wants to, like, set up, like, a base or get a reputation or whatever, and they're not playing someone that, if we skip like 5 or 10 years ahead, would be unreasonable for them to continue being an adventurer, right? And then you talk with your players about it. It's like, would you guys like to take up a couple weeks off and continue the game, or after this big huge story thing, would you just want to stop here? You can ask them, like, we can stop here. I've achieved one of the big goals that I had with the party, but if you wanted to continue, we can talk about, like, how long and what you would do, and maybe if people wanted to play a different character, like, you know, this was a Carrion Crown thing, is we had a lot of people rotating in and out, unfortunately, because real life and stupid things that players do sometimes.
Yeah.
And that really kind of hurt the party cohesion. And that's kind of a little bit happening in my game.
I think a time skip could alleviate that.
Yeah, and that's something that isn't totally awful. And as long as you're not playing like someone who's like, after 5 years, I will live and die.
Well, I think that's why Skulls and Shackles is good, because as soon as you get like, we have a boat now,
Yeah.
you can easily be like, oh hey, you're recruiting like someone was like, well look man, I have the opportunity to get off the boat and go on my own. I want to leave now, you know. You can have it, and then you could be like, well, we need to recruit someone to be like another officer on the ship. Let's look for someone that's a little bit more, you know, well trained than your average pirate. Hey, person we're recruiting. And then when you get on board the boat, you're like, yeah, hey, we do have a little bit of a baggage. There's this one guy who kind of wants to murder us, just another pirate, just to keep that in your mind. I'm like, you know, I'm working for you guys now. I guess I should be concerned with that. You know, that's the kind of thing, you know. You don't have to necessarily have what happened to the PCs in the first season be a main thing. You know, that could be like the legacy of the boat you're getting to now. You know, it's like, we broke away from these other pirates. They might want revenge on us.
Yeah.
You know.
Or whatever. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think that fits really well for that setting too.
Yeah.
Mine is kind of, you're part of an adventurers guild, sort of. Some of you haven't joined technically, but
One
it's whatever. I mean, I think it's 2 now, technically.
Well, they just showed up. I mean, one of them probably will.
Yeah, they'll probably
Maybe.
but yeah, don't always have 16-year-long adventure plans.
Yeah.
You know, it's better sometimes to keep things short, or and it can go on long. You know, that's the unfortunate thing. You never know when it's going to go on long, and you have to just be ready to like maybe like cut things or take breaks or something to help.
So, what did us idiots do last Friday, Momo?
Last Friday, I don't know, you fought a spellcaster.
We did.
We kind of kicked her ass a bit.
Yep.
And perhaps if she didn't want your corpses intact, she would have absolutely just destroyed all of you. But she wanted your corpses intact because she needed them.
Creepy.
She's a necromancer. She wants
And a vampire.
more. She wants more minions. And then you blasted her a lot, and she counterspelled your healing spell because I said at the beginning of the campaign I will do that.
Yeah, that's fine. I was ready to freaking cast a bunch of them and freaking burn out all of her 3rd level slots, wasting on levels heals. I was ready for that.
I did crit. I crit
got, like, 3
Lynn
crits.
three times in a row.
One of them was an advantage roll,
Yeah,
so it was
to be
just
fair.
2 20s.
Two 20s, and then immediately after another crit.
Yep.
And then the spellcaster died, quote unquote, and just kind of turned into a fog cloud and left to go
Missed it away.
to go reform.
Vampires.
And then she tried to stab herself over an altar, but then got blasted because they beat the damage threshold I had set.
Then I
She
bled on the altar
died,
instead.
and then Lightning's character bled on the altar.
Yeah.
And,
I didn't know what to do.
Hey, I don't know, you see this altar, like, oh, go up to it and I cut my hand.
Yeah, and you're like, roll damage. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess dagger
how
damage.
deep are you cutting your hand?
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Yep. And,
I'm a tanky sorcerer. I can survive 1 crit. Oh wait, that's 2.
Yep. You know, they say confidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Yeah, it's
it
like
is.
a dark dungeon thing.
Yeah, they just killed another vampire, basically. That's kind of what they're
Yeah.
doing, is just systematically hunting a group of vampires.
We're like Ghostbusters, except for vampires.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. And then now there's a bit of downtime.
We're doing something. I don't know what.
I didn't
mean,
prep, so...
I have a list of things that I can go do.
Yeah,
I don't know if
you have
anybody
some
else.
form of quest to go on.
Yeah, like a divine quest or something. I don't
something.
know.
Yeah, I had to prep things because, and my session yesterday got canceled because someone overslept. I'm fine with that because I didn't prep. I was gonna have to do an unprepped session. I was like, I don't know how this one's gonna go.
I've done that before. You can usually just BS your way through half of it because the players are easily distracted.
Yep.
The thing is that, like, you know, that's the only the good and bad thing about legacies records and children is I BS'd so much of all three of them. I like prep like 5 minutes to like, you know, like what's my basic storyline? Where am I trying to get to? But I think that also the disadvantages that can lead to
Side quests.
Side quests a lot more.
So
than
this
I
is
would
why
do.
this is why I at least try and write a paragraph to work from. I had 3 paragraphs written up just purely for encounter and dialogue with the cult leader lady. And technically you missed some of it, but you would have only seen some of that if you tried to continue murder hoboing everybody. Which would have been less beneficial for you because she had absolutely no problem with talking about everything the cult's doing. You wouldn't have learned any of that if you killed them.
But yeah.
I think that's one of those things is like there's a good middle ground. Like my plan right now for Skulls and Shackles is to kind of go in there and take the basic adventure and kind of like make notes on it, you know, so I have an idea of what I want in that adventure, and then, you know, like use those to work off of rather than how I'm kind of doing it a little bit.
And just have cliff notes or something.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's usually what I have for mine, except I've also like realized I've also been kind of reading Curse of Strahd because I am considering fixing the problems I have with that and running it. I've realized, I've kind of set you guys up on like a Curse of Strahd quest where you're just going around the land doing things.
Yeah, we kind of are. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's fine.
Yeah, there's no issue with that. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, if you have a game that is purely goals, like an actual adventure path or a module or something, if it's just going from point A to point B to point C to point D or whatever, I don't think it's as interesting if you don't inject a little bit of your own thing in there.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like, it's just routine. Like you're still playing Dungeons and Dragons, obviously. That's but you're not really playing with the DM. I feel the DM is more just running you through a game. Yeah. And I don't think it's as good that way.
Yeah.
Like I'll be honest, there is like kind of that point A, point B, point C thing, but you guys went to point C first.
Yeah, we kind of do that sometimes. Make sure you limit your players, otherwise they'll do stupid things like try and attack an army of kobolds at level 2 or whatever. Hey, let's go fight all these kobolds. Like, there's too many.
I can't wait for next session to introduce this weird windmill.
Oh no, not the windmill.
The windmill.
Or roll a nat 20 and get a 30 perception on this chest and tell the party this chest is alive, and have one of their party members kick it and force a really dangerous encounter.
Yeah, someone got beat up a lot and punished for their sins, and then tried to run away and then got grabbed.
Yeah.
Anyway, sounds like our week in tabletop. I'm gonna consider the Rat and Mouse RPG our Kickstarter. So I think we're at a good spot to end it for today. Also, because I really have to go to the bathroom now.
Me too.
I have to start cooking dinner.
I want to go get some things done, and I'm going to probably pick up some food. And, yep.
And we're not streaming it, but in 2 hours, I get to kill everyone with ghosts.
Yeah, we get to die for
ghosts.
Yeah. You're in a bamboo forest full of ghosts that the dude that you went and talked to is like, no one who goes in there comes out alive. They all die.
Can't wait for us to come out alive and him to be like, well, shit.
you guys did kind of go in and come back out alive.
We already did that once.
Yeah, we already did that once. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. It was actually a very interesting discussion on kind of like the enemies and monsters that you're going to use in your game. So, I mean, keep it in mind, think about it, and, you know, I think that's the thing that I think we've all been talking about is consider your players a lot when it's too with it. So, anyway,
Don't have them fight 16 ghosts.
No.
No, do have them fight 16 ghosts.
Have,
Okay,
be-
you guys are
it'll be
fighting 16
funny.
ghosts.
have a great rest of your day and weekend. I don't know if I'm doing anything tomorrow just because of scheduling and stuff. I'm gonna try to get some streaming in next week, but I'm also trying to like get some work done around the house. So that's gonna kind of be, you know, up in the air. I'm trying to actually clean up. Like, if everybody didn't notice, the massive tower has been taken
Oh
down.
shit, clean.
Wow!
Yeah, because I cleaned up over on the other side of that, and
Professionalism.
like
what is this?
that's much more filled with magic cards because my entire magic card collection is now on my bookshelf.
Nice. That's where it belongs.
The only thing that's not over there is decks because I don't have goddamn room for that. But like everything else goes there for now until like it'll be sorted more and have less space. But
Anyway,
not right now.
stop
Anyway.
by the channel. There's D&D stuff.
Yeah.
D&D stuff. Tuesdays, hopefully, Legacies of Kain will be back. We took a break because technical issues, and then Carpe because he's was doing some moving stuff, and because we didn't have him basically doing anything for a couple of sessions, we're like, we're gonna wait for him so we can actually do some stuff in a session. And then actually,
That's it.
That's probably it.
That's
Next
it.
week.
Yeah, except if you go to a different channel to watch this
also,
guy.
yeah, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Star Trek. So, yep,
That's on Unfunny One's channel.
yep, on Funny One's channel.
It's good. They
Yeah.
had the wormhole alien thing. Go check it out.
Yeah,
Some
fun
interesting stuff
time.
going
We'll
on.
see how things go with that goddamn jerk wormhole aliens.
Yeah, they're not nice.
They're not nice. They're pretty
Yep.
awful. But we'll see how things go with
Bye.
them. So anyway, bye.
Bye.
No.